Hi, this is Keith Baldwin. Welcome to Work-Like-A-Boss training. I created this quick video training to walk you through how to get some things off your to-do list. The goal is to get really focused on those things you truly excel at. You'll make the biggest impact on your business. Are you ready to dive in? Let's go.
The Work-Like-A-Boss method is all about freedom. We often start our businesses because we value freedom. We don't want a boss, but then somehow we get trapped by our own businesses. After all, no one cares as much about our business as we do. No one knows our products and services like we do. Since we know the business so much better than anyone else, we easily get bogged down in the details and soon lose that freedom we sought. After all, it's just easier to do it ourselves than to train somebody else to do it, or so we think. The Work-Like-A-Boss method is simply a shift in that thinking. The shift in thinking is to become very clear and focused about what few things we should focus on every day that will create the biggest results. The shift in thinking is from getting things done ourselves to getting things done through others who know and care about our business. So getting started is simple. If you haven't already, print off the handout and I'll walk you through the tool. The end goal is to know where our time is spent and then run our daily activities through a few filters and finally make conscious decisions on where to invest our time. Instead of prioritizing everything that's on our current list, we identify our priorities and then intensely focus our time there. So on this blank page, you'll see this is just going to be a simple tool, but it can be a beginning of a transformative change. I'll define the headings at each column and then provide examples. As I'm talking, start to fill out your own form. In fact, I'll pause at the end of a few segments just to give you a little time to do that. So everything is our first column. So list everything that you do, and I mean everything. List it even if it only takes you 5 minutes, even if you think it only takes a minute. Usually when an entrepreneur tells me it only takes a couple minutes, we find it takes usually 20 to 30 minutes or more. You don't need to list how long you spend on items on your list, just list the items. So here are some everything examples from a typical business owner I've worked with. You'll probably need more than one page to complete your list, and you'll see that these examples are pretty broad. For example, I added customer complaints. If that's on your list, specify the types of complaints you get involved with. Same thing with solving problems and answering client questions. Be as specific as possible when filling this section out. If you'd like, go ahead and pause this video now and fill out your everything column. Next column is strengths column. In this column, you're going to list activities you excel at. So look down your everything column, the one you just worked on, and list only those things that you excel at. Those things are true strengths of yours. Some clues to strengths are things that are easy for you to learn. So if you look back to when you first started your business or even before, what are the things that just came so easy to you? In fact, people around you may have even commented that, gosh, it just looks so easy for you to do that. I mean, how did you learn it so quickly? So that's a clue to talent. Another thing is just excellence, those glimpses of excellence. Those items that are on your everything list that you know when you do them, that you always have really good results. Another clue to strength is when you get into the state of flow. Sometimes that clue may be that it's 8 o'clock at night and you suddenly realize that most of the lights are off, everybody else is home, and you're still involved in this one project. And you're having fun, at least you're enjoying the challenge and the fulfillment of working on that project. So oftentimes when we're identifying strengths, entrepreneurs will say things like, well, that's so easy. I mean, anybody can do that. That's not really a strength. It's like, no, that's a clue to your strength. And so make sure you're identifying those things in the everything column and moving those over to the strengths column. Here you'll see some strength examples, and so these were just items listed in the everything column that were moved over because they were true strengths of this business owner. He was the best in the office at resolving customer complaints and answering their complicated questions. She could immediately spot problems on the weekly reports. So now pause the training and review the everything column and bring over those activities that you truly excel at. Okay, next we'll look at boss stuff. And this is where we start to drill down to those activities that drive business results. There's a couple of ways of looking at this. Part of this is you probably already have a pretty good idea of at least some of the things you should be doing as a leader of your company. Should you be going and ordering supplies? Should you be the one solving customer complaints? Don't worry right now so much about whether you have someone on your team that can do everything. Just think about what you should be doing. Another way of thinking about this is if you want your company to be earning $400,000 a year gross, and you're going to work 2,000 hours in a year, your time should be spent on $200 an hour activities. Would you pay someone else $200 an hour to do what you're doing now? Could you hire somebody else for $25 an hour to do some of your current activities? How about $50 an hour? Now, your numbers may be different, but the concept is still solid. Maybe you want your time to earn $100 an hour. Maybe it's $1,000 an hour or more. Whichever your number is, just be sure that you're spending your time during the day focused on those activities that create the biggest results. So pause this training again and look through your everything list, and then move over items that only fit the criteria of boss stuff. There should be a lot fewer items on this list. Okay, take a look at the examples under boss stuff. These are activities I moved over from the everything column. For instance, really effective team meetings that energize and focus your team's time during the day could generate way more than $200 an hour for your time. Any actions you take that really leverage your time through the team has that possibility. Strategic planning is another example. Planning how to position your company for future success could generate massive income for the future. So now pause the video again and look through the everything column and add those high leverage activities to the boss stuff column. The final column is my stuff. The ideal day is full of actions that are both strengths and boss stuff. So now look through those two columns, the strengths column and the boss stuff column, and only move over items that fall into both columns. Also at this time, think about actions that you used to take and know you should be taking that are both strengths of yours and boss stuff. For example, if you used to do client visits with top customers that resulted in significant sales but stopped because you got too busy, add that to the my stuff list. Just to be clear, if an activity is not both a strength and boss stuff, it does not go into the my stuff column. If solving customer problems is a strength of yours, but you can hire and train somebody for $25 an hour to do this, don't add it to the my stuff column. You'll see some examples of my stuff. So this should be a pretty short list, but everything on the list should be impactful. These are high leverage activities. In other words, a little bit of focused effort that results in greater outcomes. So now pause the training and move over items that are strengths and boss stuff into the my stuff column. So now you'll see a completed sheet, and yours should look pretty similar to this. So what do you think? So a common question people ask is, well, great, what do I do with all the stuff that still needs to be done? So watch your email for the next training segment on this. There's both an art and science for getting stuff off our plate while making sure everything is still getting done. We'll talk about what to do with the stuff not in your column. But the first step is get really clear on where you want to invest your time. So the next training is coming soon. But to be sure we're answering your questions, please click the survey link below and let us know your biggest challenge when it comes to delegating to others. Until then, take care.